Good afternoon, everyone. We're just still waiting for people coming in, but welcome to the True Temperance International for today, the family show for today. And we just ask you to comfortably take your seats wherever you are, grab a pen and paper as we're going to be learning together today. We're just going to give it maybe a few more minutes to ensure that we have a few more people joining us on the platform. A special welcome to anyone who may be joining us via YouTube today. My name is Linda Hlomola. I'm one of the co-hosts for today's show, and I'm co-hosting together with my sister, who's going to introduce herself just now.
Thank you, Linda. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Shirlene. I'm Shirlene Curlew.
Okay, thanks, Shirlene. And we are really happy to have you with us today, and we really hope you're going to enjoy learning with us as we learn more about what our program has in store for us. Before we go into what the program for today has in store for us, we are just going to be going through a few announcements, and then we are going to launch into the program for today. So I just ask you to just bear with us as we go through some of our announcements. Once again, welcome you all to the Family Health Show, Season 2. As we know, the theme for this season is Fearfully and Wonderfully Made, Know Your Body. We are responsible for our health, and God has given us the capability to be able to take care of our bodies and created these beautiful bodies that can heal themselves. But it's important for us to be able to know what it is to do with our bodies. And that's why we have these shows. And that is for us to learn how we can take care of our bodies. So we hope and pray that you will also enjoy today's presentation as well as we go deeper into knowing our body.
Thank you, Linda. So for today, it's Shooting from the Hip. It's a conversation on bone health presented by no stranger, Dr. Sam Davis. It's been a long time since he's been on, and we thank him for joining us this afternoon and sharing with us regarding, well, Pastor Sam will talk about it, but hip replacement, the therapies, people who have hip pain and so forth. So Pastor Sam will talk more about it, but please stay tuned as as Pastor Sam talk about this topic, shooting from the hip. So we're going to have our TTI disclaimer. Linda, could you read this?
Okay. All right. So this is our TTI disclaimer, everyone. And that is that only a physician can diagnose, treat, and prescribe for illness or disease. Any information disclosed or discussed at the TTI Zoom talk show is for educational and informational purposes only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your general practitioner regarding any illness or disease you may be suffering from. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
We have also a number of TTI Telegram groups. We have a spiritual health group whereby we discuss issues that concern our spiritual health, as we know that we are supposed to be holistically whole. It's not just our bodies, but as our spirits are also healthy, it's important that the two harmonize and work together. So if anyone has an interest in joining the TTI Spiritual Health Group, please just take this moment to take a screenshot of your screen right now, and you can download Telegram if you don't have it already, and then you can just find the group. We also have two wellness groups for males and females, where we discuss health issues that are relevant for each of those groups. So we highly encourage you to join either one of those groups, depending on whether you're male or female, so that you can engage with other men if you're a man, engage with other women if you're a woman, on those health concerns and wellness concerns that actually then touch us in our different genders as well. So once again, it's for that holistic spiritual health, overall spiritual health and wellness and physical wellness of our bodies. So we have these different Telegram groups, the TTI Spiritual Health, the TTI Men Wellness Group, and the TTI Women's Wellness Group as well.
Thank you, Linda. So on the 29th of August to the 4th of September will be a health, how would you say, camp meeting, conference, retreat. This will be on the 29th of August to the 4th of September, where we will have various workshops from various speakers. They're below, but there are plenty more that will be joining us on this health conference. These workshops will be your mind and disease, detoxing therapies, cooking demonstrations, assessing your body chemistry, setting up a sanitarium, herbs and practice, country living, physiotherapy, health checks, and many more. There are a few places left in terms of the what we call it, on the standard accommodations. Unfortunately, majority of them are booked up now. In terms of the en-suites, the bungalows, they're all booked up, but we have got a few spaces left with the standard accommodation. But please join us for this week. Come meet us. Unfortunately, Linda won't be coming and Q. So it'd be nice to meet them. But please come and join the rest of us. Pastor Sam, who's speaking now, he'll be there. And Andre, as you can see, Alvin, Lucille, Joanne, Daniels, Dr. Conrad Vine, Jacqueline, that's it, Jackie Brown, and many more. So please join us for this health conference as we talk about health, as Linda says, spiritual health and well-being, our physical health and well-being, a whole nice week with us in the beautiful countryside of Wales. So please contact if you go on ahreformers.com, the booking form will be there. Alternatively, please contact the number for more information about it. Before I say thank you all for your support, there was another Louise Reed, who will be another person for our workshops. She's conducting another detox program, and that will be on the, I'm reading it from my phone, it will be on the 5th of June to the 14th of June. So that's another 10-day colon and liver detox program. And this will make the digestive system more effective, maintain regularity and prevent constipation, increase your energy, increase absorption of vitamins and nutrients, kickstart to weight loss, support the liver, and increase bile flow to the liver. So please contact Louise if you are interested on 07833 497 532. And she's also running another one where you can speak to her, and that is only for pre-diabetics. Or if you have type 2 diabetes, she's doing another detox program just for those individuals. So if you would like to take part, please contact Louise. But this is the time to say thank you. Thank you all for your support in various ways, various means, whether it's financial, whether it's prayer, whether it's sharing with somebody else, whether it's you just joining us today, joining us this afternoon. We just thank you all for supporting us through these, I think nearly two years already, 2 years. Mm-hmm. Yes, Linda's nodding, 2 years already on this program. So we thank you all for your support. And if you would like to support, please see our account details on the screen. Please take a screenshot if you would like to support financially and would like the details. So what we will do because I don't think there was a challenge last week. So what we're going to do, we're going to hand it over straight to Pastor Sam. Pastor Sam, are you ready?
I am, Charlene, I am.
You are. So we're going to hand it over straight to you, Pastor Sam, and we thank you once again for joining us.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Delighted to be here with you. As Charlene said, it's been quite a while since I was last with you, but I'm delighted to join you once again this afternoon. I was in the UK for the last just under 3 weeks, conducting an evangelistic crusade in the Bedford Church, and had the privilege of baptizing my brother. So that was really a high point for the family. We were just giving God praise for that opportunity. While I was there, I was also very intrigued to listen into the news and to hear the amount of people that were bemoaning the fact that they'd missed out on their hip replacement or their knee replacement because of COVID. So intrigued was I by that fact, because it had made the front page of the news, or it was on the TV, that I felt that, hey, this is something really important that we ought to talk about. And so this is not an area of expertise for me, but I thought it would be something worth just highlighting, talking about. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And I've entitled this "Shooting from the Hips." Let's just bow our heads as we pray. Father God, we're just so thankful that we can come together this afternoon, and we thank you, God, that we can share this moment together. I pray that you will be with me as I speak, lead, guide, direct, and may we all be inspired to better health. In the name of Jesus, I do pray. Amen. So, shooting from the hips, and it's, let me just share my scripture reading. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and in the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. And Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 11, and the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail. Amen. And you know, that last part there, making your bones strong, is particularly relevant and important to us this afternoon. So shooting from the hips, it's a phrase that we have in English, and it really means to react quickly without thinking carefully about something. You know, it's a knee-jerk response, something that we do very, very quickly. And then, of course, here is we're not going to shoot from the hip. We're going to think things through. You know, so when you're shooting from the hip, you haven't really thought about this, and you're just going with the flow. So when it comes to our health, do we really want to be shooting from the hip? And I would suggest that not many of us would want to be doing that. You know, we're thinking very carefully about the next step when it comes to making a move on our health. If somebody is confronted with having their tonsils removed, it's not a decision that you make on the hoof or you shoot from the hip about. If you're having to have your gallbladder removed, that's a very, very important step in the life of an individual, in the health of an individual. And so you want to think about it very, very carefully. No doubt with a wife or a husband or a family member, you know, this is a crucial decision that you're making in your life. Also, a hip replacement is something that you're not going to shoot from the hip about, you know, so you're probably wondering, why would I call this talk shooting from the hip? If these decisions, if you're having a knee replacement, again, this is not a light decision. And one of the reasons why I'm also talking about this subject is because I have three friends, three people within my circle of influence who have had either hip replacement or knee replacements. And so these are major surgeries that, and life-changing surgery that people have gone through, and they are not shooting from the hip at all. They are really, really very important. But just imagine that you've got your car and something goes wrong. Let's say the first gear is not working, and you take your car to the mechanic and you say, well, you know, there's something wrong with my first gear. It's not working properly. Can you have a look at it for me? And a few days later, he calls you and says, yes, your car is ready. And so you go to pick the car up and you say, well, is everything good? And he says, yeah, we've sorted it out. What have you done? Well, we've removed the first gear, you know, so everything's all right. All the other gears are fine, but we've removed first gear. Well, you're going to say, well, you've not done it, you know. But is that the same thing as, you know, I've taken out your tonsils or I've removed the gallbladder? You know, taking out an organ or replacing it with something that is inferior is really not the best decision. It's not the sort of way we wish to proceed, especially when it comes to our health. But I'm finding that many people are crying out for pain in the hip. More and more men and women are complaining about knee and hip problems, and it's not a trifling matter. Here on the farm, we had a lady who came to us, and she could hardly walk because of problems with the knees. And in fact, you know, part of our regime is that you are here to get better, so you need to go out and exercise. And this lady, literally, she would walk down the path and she'd have a portable stool with her, and she'd have to sit down, and I would come up to her and she'd look around and say, Pastor, these views are beautiful. I just really love it here. But she was not able to walk as efficiently or effectively as she liked due to problem with the knees. And in fact, that lady was scheduled for a knee replacement operation. Dr. Nicholas Bedard and colleagues from the Department of Orthopedics and Rehabilitation at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics used the US hip and knee arthroplasty procedure, volume projections, and data from the American Joint Replacement Registry to estimate the number of canceled primary and revision total hip angioplasty and total knee angioplasty procedures. According to the study, researchers estimated that 30,000 primary and 3,000 revision THA and TKA procedures will be canceled every week while restrictions remain in place. Now, let's just stop at that. I don't want you to miss that. 30,000 primary hip replacement procedures within a week. So in a month, you're talking about 120,000. In 10 weeks, you're talking about 300,000. That's a lot of hip replacements. And then the knee replacements were 3,000. You know, so that's a lot that is taking place. And you might say, well, that's just America, Pastor. But in England, in 2021, women aged between 75 and 79 years had a hip replacement rate of approximately 271 per thousand within the population. And men in the same age group at a hip replacement rate of 186 per 100,000 males. And so the rate of hip replacement in England increased through the age groups, peaking at the age group of between 75 to 79 years, which has the highest rate of procedures for both genders. And so you see, this is a problem in all of the developed countries around the world. You know, so it's not just unique to the United States, or nor is it unique to the UK, but around the world in the developed countries, there is this common problem. Just want you to have a look at this table, and you will see there the rate of hip replacements in England for 2021 by age. And so you can see there that it's taking place, it's beginning to take place between 15 and 9, the age 15 to 19. And that could be that they've been in an accident or something like that. These guys are far too young for osteoarthritis to have set in, we hope. But you'll see there, if you have a look at the female, even there, you know, 15 to 19, the rate is higher for females. That has to do with estrogen, and you'll see that for men, it's lower. But look at the peak of it, 75 to 79. Again, the women are out in front in terms of the procedures that are taking place. This has no ethnic boundaries, so it doesn't matter whether you're white or black, you're Asian. This problem with the hip and the knee is something that's affecting people across all the cultures. So what are the key drivers for hip replacement? And please forgive me for the spelling mistake there. I'm just seeing that. Okay, so severe pain. And so if you're in severe pain, certainly you're not going to be shooting from the hip. You know, this is something very, very serious. People are going to see their doctors and talking about the problems that they're experiencing. Swelling and stiffness in your hip or your knee joints, another key driver, another reason why people will be going to see their doctors, because they are seeking a remedy. Reduced mobility, pain interferes with the quality of life and sleep. And so here we are. Just imagine that you are laying down, but it's difficult to lay down because those bones are rubbing together. There is no comfortable way of sleeping. So it drives you to your doctor and you're in constant pain. People are taking painkillers to deal with the pain, and then getting out of the bath is difficult or near impossible. So all of these factors impact on the reason why people seek to get this procedure done. So by 2060, look at this, by 2060, the demand for hip and knee joint replacement is estimated to increase by almost 40%. This is talking about the UK. Demand will be greatest in older patients, that's 70 years older and older, which will have significant implications for the health service, requiring forward planning, given that morbidity and resource use is higher in this population. These issues coupled with...
Sorry, Pastor Sam.
Yep.
Sorry to cut you while you're speaking. My apologies. Is it possible to move your microphone slightly down? It's giving some static because I think it's rubbing on your shirt.
No, I'm not wearing a microphone.
You're not wearing a mic.
Oh, maybe it's a fan. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Because there's a sound like a. So I thought it's probably a mic that's
sorry.
rubbing against something.
Yeah.
Apologies.
I'm sorry about that. Thank you for that intervention. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, it's very hot here, guys.
Oh, shame. Please don't die of heat.
Move it for me, please. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. So sorry. Yeah, let me start with this slide again then. So by 2060, the demand for hip and knee joint replacement is estimated to increase by almost 40%. Demand is going to increase in older patients, that's over those who are over 70s, which will have significant implications for the health service, requiring forward planning, given that morbidity and resource use is higher in this population. So these issues, coupled with 2 waves of COVID-19, will impact the ability of the health service to deliver timely joint replacements to many patients for a number of years, requiring urgent planning. So I think this was the reason why it was in the news while I was in the UK, because of COVID-19, there were many people who had their procedures cancelled. People were frustrated. I even heard one person saying that I was so frustrated that I just went and did it privately. But look at this lady, the joy on her face. She is just smiling there radiantly, and that is having your own bone removed and a false one put in, your own joint removed and a false one put in, and she is ecstatic. And the reason for that is simply that she was in so much pain before the procedure was done. Okay, let me just take this out. Okay, so let's just have a look at here's a healthy hip joint. You can see the socket and the femur thigh bone that's coming up, and then the femoral head covered with articular cartilage. So so it's nice and smooth within the joint. And then over on the right-hand side, you can see the deterioration of the bone. You see the damaged cartilage. And so what you have a situation of bone on bone, and it is very, very painful. And so that's the reason why people would then seek to have that removed. Let's just have a look at this one, and you'll see how highly inflamed that area is. So osteoarthritis, degeneration of joint. Here's an explanation of osteoarthritis, degeneration of joint, cartilage, and the underlying bone. Most common from middle age and onward. It causes pain and stiffness, especially in the hip, knee, and thumb joints. And so I have known individuals who are in that situation, who are in a lot of pain, and this seems to be the only alternative. In fact, when you have reached this point, then it's far too late to be saying, well, let me take more calcium, or let me get more calcium in my food, or I'm going to drink more carrot juice, or whatever it is. It's just too late to undo the damage that has been done. And so what needs to be done is preventive measures need to be taken much earlier to avoid this situation. So there's the before. You can see how the joint is deteriorated, the cartilage is damaged, the bone around that area is also damaged. And here you see they put in that false joint. So the material used, polyethylene. Plastic is by far the most common material used for hip replacement liners. This material has provided good to excellent results when paired with ceramic or cobalt chromium balls. Now, I found that there's all different kinds of materials that use. The femoral stem is the portion of the replacement that fits into your thigh bone. Historically, this is made from titanium and or cobalt chromium metals. In the modern era of hip replacements, cemented stems inserted with a surgical bone cement are composed of cobalt chromium metals. Cementless stems, implants in which your bone grows into the metal, are routinely made of titanium. Both designs have had excellent long-term results as part of total hip replacement systems. So what I'd like to say is that God has blessed the medical fraternity, our doctors, with excellent skills to be able to provide a service. It's amazing what the modern scientific community can do to alleviate the suffering of individuals who find themselves in this situation. It really is quite amazing. So you have a look here again, you're seeing the femur bone and the fibula, and then you see the cartilage there. And if you look over to the right-hand side, you'll see that the cartilage is worn away, and also the knee the knee bone is worn and damaged, and therefore it brings about that situation. So the lady who was with us was very much overweight, and therefore this operation was very, very necessary. I think the objective was to lose the weight so that she would be able to be more mobile, but that did not happen. Here is another view, and you can see just on the right-hand side how greatly inflamed, how damaged that cartilage is, and the bone itself is very, very damaged. So as I said, modern science has really been able to offer an effective alternative for those who are suffering from damage to the knee, damage to the pelvic, to the hip. Now, of course, every one of us, we want to get out. We want to be able to enjoy walks in the countryside. We want to be able to be mobile, whether it's to drive, do our shopping, whatever. This is very, very important. And God made us to be mobile. Ellen White says the only thing in the universe that's not moving is dead. So we were meant to move. Exercise is a very important and integral part of our existence. So let's just look at the causes for this deterioration. Could be a motor vehicle accident, fall from a horse, but the most common reason for knee replacement surgery and hip replacements is osteoarthritis. Other health conditions that cause knee damage include rheumatoid arthritis. So this is an arthritic problem, and we can trace that back to lifestyle. So what can I do? Lifestyle change. Some people try to deal with this through drug medication and exercise. But the thing that you really need to be doing is to build good bones and maintain good bones through lifestyle practice. It was never God's intention that we should have an upgrade, and in fact, I've used that term upgrade. I should be saying downgrade, because getting a prosthetic limb or some form of prosthesis is not really an upgrade. It is just a method to help you get through life more easily, but it's never going to improve on what God gave you in the first place. So we all know that the bones are very, very important, and our bones are made up very much of calcium. And so the milk industry has, many years ago, embarked on a campaign to make us drink more milk. So there's 1,200 milligrams of calcium in a liter of milk. And I remember when we were kids at school, there was a bottle of milk, I don't know if it was maybe 250 milliliters of milk, but they're a small bottle of milk. But I was a child coming from Jamaica where we were not drinking milk, and really did not take to milk drinking. I just couldn't stand it. But I think eventually I got to the place where I could drink a little milk, but I really did not like doing it. But it was obviously the view of the government that we needed to be drinking our milk. And there's the milk and cheese and yogurt. These things are promoted to be able to for your calcium intake. These are really rich in calcium. Then here are the two sisters, Serena and her sister, promoting milk. What's the best way to toast my sister's victory? With milk. It has 9 essential nutrients active bodies need. For best results, of course, serve in a silver cup. So that's Serena and Venus there. And then you'll remember Batman got milk, others reload, Batman refuels. So research suggests that milk, unique mix of nutrients, can help you recover after exercise, and its protein can help build muscle. So train hard and drink low-fat or fat-free milk, because the Batmobile isn't the only thing that needs to refuel. And then, of course, there is Superman. That's how milk makes you feel. Super. The calcium helps bones grow strong. So even if you're not from Krypton, you have bones of steel. And so this was the narrative around milk, gut milk. You need to be taking your milk in order to be have healthy, strong bones. Again, 9 essential nutrients for 1 essential body. And here's a glass in the shape of a bone. And so the milk industry, we're really milking it, if you like, in terms of promoting milk as a way of strengthening your bones. So milk for calcium. And here's Wolverine again. So a lot of money and effort were put into the promotion of milk. Now let's just have a look at the National Institute of Health recommended dietary allowances for calcium. So you have the age ratios there, 0 to 6, 7 to 12, and then right up to 70 years. So from 4 years to 8, it's 1,000 milligrams, then 9 to 13, or 1,300, and so on. So, and then it falls up between 90 to 50, 1,000, 51 to 70, 1,000 milligrams, and 70 years and above, 1,200 milligrams of calcium per day. Now, there are those who say, well, this is way over, way too much. Outside the United States, the recommended calcium intake is much lower. The World Health Organization recommends 500 milligrams of calcium a day, and the United Kingdom, where we are, sets the goal at 700 milligrams. The World Health Organization recommends 500. So there's quite a bit of disparity there as to what the normal recommended amount is. But I think that 500 is about good. There was another doctor that I was reading. He wrote the book, Don't Drink Your Milk, and he's talking about 300 milligrams of calcium per day. So almost 98% calcium is almost all 98% calcium is in the body is stored in the bones, and the body uses the bones as a reservoir for and source of calcium to maintain calcium homeostasis. So that's the balance. The body needs calcium. You will see in just a moment that we need calcium for doing most things that we do. So more than 99% of calcium in the body is in the form of calcium hydroxyapatite, and an inorganic matrix of calcium phosphate that is stored in the bones and teeth. So unlike teeth, bone undergoes continuous remodeling with constant resorption and deposition of calcium into new bone. Bone remodeling is required to change bone size during growth, repair damage, maintain serum calcium levels, and provide a source of other minerals. So as we can see from this, that, you know, the bones, our bones are constantly changing as we grow, and calcium is very much a part of that. So look at Dr. Neil Nedley. He says, although milk has a high calcium content, 60 to 80% of it is not absorbed through the human intestine. In general, humans absorb as much or more of the calcium in plant products than they do from milk. Very, very interesting indeed. And so Dr. What's his name? Dr. Walter Veit will also confirm the same thing, that plant-based sources of calcium are much better than milk. And in fact, milk is implicated in a lot of diseases in children. And so we would not recommend that. Now, a lot of people, and let me just. Okay, so high protein diet for bodybuilders. Now, we've had many people come to the farm, and it's amazing just how many people will say when we share with them the diet that we are eating, which is a plant-based diet, then they will say, I need protein. I need protein. we had one guy from the UK, and that was his mantra. I need protein. I cannot live without protein. We, even though we tried to explain to him that he did not need the amount of protein that he was suggesting, and that there was protein in the foods that we were giving him, he just could not get his head around it. And you see these bodybuilders here, a man and a woman, and to bulk up that way, they really feel that they need protein: meats, poultry and fish, sirloin steak, ground beef, pork, tenderloin, venison, chicken breast, salmon, and cod, all of these things, dairy, yogurt, cottage cheese, low-fat milk and cheese, grains, bread, cereal, oatmeal, and so on. But the vegetable part of that is fine, but people feel that they need to bulk up on meats and fish and so on in order to get their protein, and this really is a misnomer. So, and this is where people are shooting from the hip, because it's when you're young, you're really not, you're not really thinking too much, and you're saying, well, hey, this is what I need. And I want to suggest this afternoon that really, when you're eating this stuff, you really are shooting from the hip and not thinking about the future and the implications of what will happen later on. The real villain for poor bone health is not the inadequate consumption of calcium, but rather an excess intake of protein. So Dr. Nedley shares the study that was done, conducted, that found that Eskimos who consumed 2,500 milligrams of calcium per day, yet was suffering greatly from osteoporosis. So calcium, let me just move this out of the way. Calcium is involved in the following: muscle contraction and relaxation, provides energy for the cells, necessary for nerve functioning, deposits calcium into the bones and teeth to provide a rigid structure. And we know just how important that is. Once the bone structure begins to go, then we really are in trouble. And I had a friend who, as he was growing, his spine was just curving. So our bone structure is really very, very important to our health and well-being. Guys, you can't see my friend, but he's here fanning me. Thank you, Milton. Thank you, Milton. That's a result of us having to turn the fan off. Calcium is the most abundant mineral in the body and has 4 primary functions: making bones strong and healthy, facilitating nerve-to-nerve communication, stimulating muscle contraction, and activating blood clotting factors. So as you can see, our calcium is really very, very important to our well-being, and most of it 98% is stored in the bones. So what happens if you do not consume enough calcium on a daily basis? The cells will have insufficient energy to meet their needs. Blood calcium levels will drop. Blood calcium levels will remain in the normal range because calcium is released from the bone to the blood. So this is very important. At the beginning of the presentation, we talked about homeostasis. Because we are fearfully and wonderfully made, God has made the body so that if there is a lack somewhere, then the body supplies it, drawing it from the bones, which then is depleting the reserves that are in the bone. So nerve signaling will stop, so the heart cannot beat. That's an extreme case because, remember, because of homeostasis, the body is drawing it from wherever it's needed. So it's taking it from the bone supply and placing it to where it's really needed to keep you alive. Hence, you see the deterioration in the bones because you're not taking it in through the foods that you're eating. Therefore, it's drawing it from the bones. If an injury occurs, the blood will not appropriately clot. So calcium is really so very important to our health and well-being. So when people eat several servings of grains, beans, and vegetables throughout the day and get enough calories, it is virtually impossible to be deficient in protein. So a high protein diet robs the body of calcium. So when you're taking in a lot of milk, you really are in the reverse is taking place, where you are leaching calcium from the bones. Also, a high protein diet, you are leaching calcium from the bones. So it seems almost counterintuitive, but that is what is taking place. And this is Executive Director of Soy Nutrition Institute. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't put his name there. Sorry about that. So a group of healthy young adult men were given carefully controlled diets for nearly 4 months. During this entire time, they were consuming 1,400 milligrams of calcium daily, an amount about as high as anyone is recommending today. And you'll see that that was really way over what we've suggested and significantly above the recommended daily amount. Investigators also controlled the subject's protein intake at 2 levels, namely 48 grams per day and 141 grams per day. These 2 levels of protein are below and above the current average intake of the US 105 grams per day, according to the latest stats from the US Department of Agriculture. The amount of calcium gain or loss in each subject was measured at the 2 levels. And the results showed that when on the low protein diet, the young men gained 10 milligrams of calcium to their body's store each day. So let me repeat that. Results showed that when on the low protein diet, the young men gained 10 milligrams of calcium to their body stores each day. On the high protein diet, the very same men lost an average of 84 milligrams each day. The authors concluded that the calcium loss of 84 mgs daily, which occurred when the high protein diet was fed, was substantial, and if continued over a period of time would result in considerable loss of body calcium. Okay, so you can see that from here, people are eating a lot of meat products. They are having high protein diets. You're having a lot of dairy products. So if you're having cheese, milk, yogurt, and so on, then people don't realize that this is shooting from the hip, not really thinking about the future and damaging the bones. Okay, so calcium deficient food is almost toxic, is the most toxic food, says Dr. Beddoe. So calcium is really critical to our health and our well-being. And when you are not eating correctly or eating properly, then you are shooting from the hip. And the results are that later on you will pay for it. So we look at these foods, and if you these are the foods that we love to eat. But what's happening here is that if the food is calcium deficient, then it's having to make up for it, and it's taking it from the bones in order to help to keep you alive. And so you're leaching calcium from the bones due to an improper diet. We love to eat these foods, but if you are not getting your calcium through a balanced plant-based diet, then you can see that you really are shooting from the hip, and you will pay for it later on. So rejoice, O young man, in the days of your youth. Let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and in the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things, your body, your body will bring you into judgment. And so as we began this lecture, we saw that there are many individuals who are crying out, so much so that it made the news headlines. People were bemoaning the fact that their scheduled hip operation or their scheduled knee joint operation had been cancelled, and they were desperate for these operations because they had been cancelled. But we can see that the cause begins much, much earlier on in life, not when they are in their 60s or 70s, but it's the decision that is made in our youth that is paying a dividend. They're not the kind of dividend that we want. Go on, young man. This is a paraphrase of that text. Live it up. Let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Have all the nice foods that you want. Eat all the ice cream, cakes, chips, and crisps that you want. But know that for all this, your body will hold you to account. And so when we see people going for hip replacements, when we see folk going for knee replacement joints, it's because they're in so much pain, and they are delighted to have these operations, but we can avoid it. Calcium deficient food is toxic food and is the greatest cause of degenerative disease problems, says Dr. Bedo. So let's think about, beloved, what it is that we are eating now, because we are making deposits for the future. When it comes to our health, do we really want to be shooting from the hip? Countries with the highest rates of hip and knee surgeries are to be found in the developed world, where we consume high protein and highly processed diet food. So 2018, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Finland, and Belgium were at the top of the list for hip replacements. But we recognize that the UK, America, the developed world, in fact, where we're eating a lot of protein, taking in a lot of calcium in dairy foods and processed foods, and we see the results in joint replacements. So this is the food that we should be eating, guys. There's a lot of calcium in these plant-based foods. These are the things that God has given to us, and when you start eating like this from an early age, then you will not have the problems that we've seen people in their 60s and 70s are having. So having your natural joint replaced is not something that we should be delighted about, but you have no choice. And look at all this good stuff that God has provided for us to help us stay healthy. Legumes, so you're getting all the nutrients, you're getting a lot of minerals, you're getting your calcium from all of these foods, and these are the things that we should be eating. Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 11, and the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. And so we want to have strong, healthy bones. You know, let me just close by saying this. My wife and I, we're here in Spain, and one of the laws of the land is that after being here 2 years, you need to change your driving license to a Spanish driving license. And, you know, so we were very reluctant to get rid of our British driving license. We really didn't want to do it. But eventually we had to conform with the law. And when we got our new Spanish driving license, I looked at my wife and I said, well, why don't I feel elated? I don't know. Why don't I feel great? Because we just didn't want to give up that British driving license. But the truth is, when you have a knee replacement or a hip replacement, is it something that you should be feeling great about because you have removed the genuine article with something that is not as good, but something that will, you know, they say could last 15, 20 years if you're careful. But God wants us, those joints were made to last as long as life, as long as we're living. Some people live to well over 100, 120, etc. So let us not shoot from the hip, beloved. When in our youth, when we're eating whatever we want to, that's the time when we're really shooting from the hip. And then later on, we agonize with family members, whether it's a spouse or whoever, about having to get this very, very important operation. We thank God for the medical fraternity and the skills, the knowledge that they have. But do you really want to have that joint replaced? God bless you. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you so much, Pastor Davis, for that very interesting talk on shooting from the hip. Really saw it differently as well. Thank you also for the reminder as well that our decisions, the decisions we make today, do affect us a few days or years down the line. We often don't really think about it in the moment, but it has that effect, and that it's important that we take knowledge of this, and we take, cognizance is the word I'm looking for. We take cognizance of that, and we apply it into our lives. And that where we don't yet have, by God's grace, those issues, we can still try and remake the time or redeem the time that we have lost by making decisions now that will help for later on in our lives. And also about the fact that it's the protein, the high protein diets that has such an effect on the bones, etc. That is really, really interesting for us to learn. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for an enlightening study and talk, and one that's really thought-provoking indeed. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add, Shirley, on your side?
No, Linda, you said it all. And Pastor Sam, thank you so much for enlightening us when it comes to our hips and what can affect it when it comes to the pain. Because I know I hear a lot of, I've got this pain in my hip and this pain in my hip, and we see the causes, the reasons why. So we thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor Sam, for that.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Have we got a few moments for about questions, please?
Yes,
Okay,
I do.
Before we have any questions, Pastor Sam, we're just going to go through just a quick break, about one minute, and then we're going to have about a 15, 20-minute question and answer. How long you can stay on with us, Pastor? About 15 minutes.
Yes,
We'll
that'd
have
be fine. That'd be fine.
questions, question and answers. But I'm just going to hand it over to Edgar quickly, just to do our promo video, please. And then we're going
I think we can
to
turn that back on now. I think we can. So.
ask any questions from the floor. Edgar? I'm not sure if Edgar's ready. So if he's not ready, then what we'll do is just... Oh, he is ready. Thank you, Edgar.
Okay, so maybe we can take one question. We were just trying to share the sound. So we could possibly take one question and then we'll come back to it, or unless Edgar's ready now. Yeah, if we take a question now, that should be fine. And then we can come back to the promo after the first question.
Okay, okay, Sharon, that's fine. I'm just seeing if there's any questions. I did see one pop up regarding sunshine. Let me see if I can find it. Do you, Pastor Sam? Are you there?
I am, yes, yes.
Okay, there's one question. It says, do you think the lack of sunshine is a factor in terms of calcium deficiency?
I think that sunshine is also always going to be very important. You know, it's talking about a holistic lifestyle. Vitamin D comes into it for sure, and so those of us who are living in the UK, I remember years ago Dr. Chidi recommending that we take a vitamin D3 supplement, and I would recommend that. You know, so all of these things help to enhance the quality. So having one and being deficient in another doesn't really help. So yes, vitamin D, very, very important indeed.
Thank you, Pastor Sam, for the answer. Thank you. I can't see any more in the chat. I'm not sure if Edgar's ready, but what we can do, he is ready, but what we can do afterwards is maybe open it up so people can speak.
Come Apart and Rest a While is a one-week holistic retreat in the relaxed rolling hills of the Welsh countryside. With something for everyone, from health checks and massages to seminars on country living, cooking demonstrations and the use of herbs, this conference brings together ministries from around the British Isles, sharing their experience and knowledge with you in a health retreat environment. Running from the 29th of August until September the 4th at the Stephen Lee Conference Centre. Whether it's for the week, the weekend, or just a day, your short vacation will exceed your expectation. And with food services ranging from self-catered to plant-based meals, and with comfortable spaces available from ensuite chalets to leisure homes and caravans, you can enjoy your tranquil accommodation. So take some rest, be refreshed, and make sure to make your reservation today. See you there.
Thank you so much, Edgar, for sharing the video. It was the health conference promo video that I spoke about earlier at the beginning of the show. So it's the 29th of August, as mentioned, to the 4th of September. Please join us there as we go through our spiritual health, physical health, mental health, and just to meet the team when it comes to TTI, but also those who's spoken on our platform, Pastor Sam, Lucille, Joan, and various Alvin, of course, so various others. So please join us on these dates and places. There's only a few, as mentioned before. There's only a few, so please, to avoid disappointment, please book now. The forms are on the ahreformers.com website. It's on there to download and to fill it out. So what we'll do, we're going to go back to our questions. I have seen a few of them in the chat, isn't it, Linda? So I will have a look and
so we do
get
have
some of this answered.
Yeah, we do have one here. Shalene, should I just go ahead and read it?
Yes, please, Linda.
Okay, it says, the writer says, I've been mostly vegan for the longest time. Of course, I would eat eggs sometimes, but recently I went back to being fully vegan. However, I've been struggling with rectal bleeding and stomach cramps, had eczema that I've never had. My CRP is high and my doctor suggests IBS. He said I should take it easy on a high fiber diet like legumes and cabbage. Yet that's what I've been eating all this while. So now I don't know what to do. And they've indicated that I've tried sprouting my beans, but I'm still having stomach issues. The doctor recommended I try a lean protein-like diet with eggs, salmon, and chicken breast. Yes, that's exactly what is discouraged in the spirit of prophecy. So I guess this probably just comes in also from the trying to follow this plant-based lifestyle that we're saying will help our bodies, will help take care specifically in this talk of our bone health. But what do you do when you have medical conditions that a medical practitioner will then advise you against such a diet?
Yeah, and I'm looking at the question, and you know, I've heard at times that people who are going through issues such as these, their doctors have recommended that they go back to a meat diet, and I could never agree with that because it would suggest that God got something wrong, you know. But what I would say to this individual, there are, and especially when you've got stomach issues, then clearly eating a lot of roughage and so on can exacerbate the problem. So I would suggest that you go to somebody who is a very good naturopath and get a proper assessment done. Clearly, if they've done an endoscopy and can see what's going on inside, then you really need to look at a natural way of dealing with this rather than trying to answer the question here on the program. Please go to see somebody who can really help you using a plant-based way. But surely, you know, first of all, I would have said healing the gut is what really needs to be done here, and there seems to be a lot going on. And especially when you have issues of bleeding, then you really do need to follow the advice of your GP for sure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Davis. And yes, it is important that for those specific medical concerns, we do either liaise with the TTI members directly or medical practitioner, as we said in the disclaimer earlier, but also, like you said, with the naturopath, I think, because there is a natural way of dealing with this condition, I'm sure, that God has. There's another question here from Audrey, which says, does a plant-based protein diet have the same effects on calcium as the animal protein diet?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. We've already shown that a plant-based diet is far better. Everything is far more balanced. You're getting all the right levels that you need, and also this is affecting your calcium levels. You're not going over and above. You're getting healthier bones as a result. We've seen that from the high protein diet, you're damaging your bones. You are leaching calcium from the bones. If you're taking in your calcium from milk, you're leaching calcium from the bones. And the best way is to be getting your nutrition through green vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, and legumes. That's what God intended for us, and you can't go wrong when you pursue that diet. And I'll take you back to the statement made by the director from the Soy Institute that when you're eating a very well balanced plant-based diet, then you're getting all the proteins that you need, and also your calcium will be good.
Thank you very much, Dr. Davis, for that answer. Apologies. And I guess the next question that had been asked by the same person is, would going to a place like Manor House for a period to be assessed and put on the right diet help? I do believe, and I'm probably speaking for Manor House here, and I stand to be corrected, but I do believe that, yes, going into a place like Manor House to be able to have that assessment of your body, have those cleanses, can help you also associate what your correct diet can be and what is the first steps that you can start taking to transition into a diet that will help. I see Sharon has also indicated here, and thank you, Sharon, that possibly trying a juice fast for a week would help. And that is a juice fast made of raw veggies and fruit juices for the gut issue. But you need to do this with consultation as well, just to also take care of that issue there with your gut. I don't know if anyone has any questions, any further questions that they'd probably like to voice over in the next few minutes that we have. There are no questions from the YouTube desk at the moment. I have asked for some clarity for someone who had asked a question that I wasn't quite sure on the clarification for, but once that comes through, I will pose that question. But in the meantime, if anyone has a question that they'd like to voice over to Dr. Davies, please can you just put your hand up or unmute and go ahead and ask your question, please. Thank you very much.
Let me just add there, I think that Manor House is a very good suggestion, because they will be able to help on the nutrition side and also the test, because they do the RBTI. So that would be certainly a very good idea, going to Manor House.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. I'm not seeing anyone on my side unmuting to ask any further questions. Oh, hey, Sharon.
Yeah, can I also add that if you do come to Kevin Lee, so you know those burning questions that you forgot at the moment to ask, and then it comes back to you later, you'll be able to see Pastor Sam there in the flesh, and with exercising true temperance, you can still ask him the question there. So it'll be great to see you. And obviously, you can contact us on the Telegram groups and ask us. We can forward any questions on your behalf. But yeah, there's nothing like in the flesh. Do you agree, Pastor Sam?
100%, Sharon.
Okay, so so sad for those of us who are not going to be there, but it is what it is, different continents at all. But I do really hope that it'll be a really fruitful time, and it'll be really important, like Sharon and Pastor Davis has said, to be really there in the flesh, to be able to ask your questions and get your answers and be able to participate in the activities that will be taking place there. I'm not seeing any further questions. I don't know if you see any, Shirley. She's shaking her head.
No.
So I don't think she's seeing anything. And there's nothing on the YouTube page as well. So then I don't know if Pastor Davis, you had a challenge for this week.
You know what? I I did not think.
Am I putting you on the spot there?
I really didn't think about a challenge, guys. I'm sorry about that. But if there are no more questions, I'm about to go and strengthen my bones by sitting at the beach in the sun. So
Can't do that.
No, but I just want to say to everybody, please really think about what it is that you're doing in terms of your diet. Don't be shooting from the hip while you are young. This is the time for us to be making deposits on our future health. That's when when we're getting into our 50s and our 60s. If you make right decisions now, then you will reap the dividends later. One of the things that we do is that we ensure that we're putting money away for a pension later on in life. And I would suggest that when you're eating properly, taking your exercise, getting plenty of sunshine and water and fresh air, etc., then you are making a deposit on your future health and well-being. So may God bless you. Thank you, Linda, and Shirley and TTI for the opportunity to be on and to share with you today. God bless you.
Sorry, Pastor, before you leave, somebody has actually sent me a direct message. So before you go to the beach,
Right.
Can we just answer first, please? I'm just going to read it as it states. It says, how do I know when I'm getting enough calcium? It says so many milligrams, etc., but how can I get something more practical so I know that my intake of calcium is enough for me?
There is a test. There is a test that you can do, and one of the things that I do is I make sure that I get regular blood tests, and you can get a test to make sure that the levels of the various minerals in your body are where they should be. And I think this is good practice, always just to go and get yourself checked over. One of the things that I've done over the years, and this has helped me, is that every 2 years I will get a full body scan to make sure I know that levels are where they should be, and where there's a deficiency, I can take steps to improve on it. So I would recommend that be done.
Thank you so much. There are no further questions on our side. We also would like to just convey our thanks to you for taking the time to once again. Okay, sorry, Sharon has put up her hand. My apologies, Sharon.
No problem.
No, it wasn't a question. I wanted you to finish what you were saying, Linda. Then I was just going to add a challenge.
Okay, all right. No, I just wanted to thank Dr. Davis for his time and for coming on to this platform. It's always so enlightening to hear from him and from the studies that he gives. And it really is a lot of thought-provoking questions to really sit back and assess and make changes where we need to make changes. May God richly bless you, Pastor, and your family, and grant good health unto you, and bless all the work that you do.
Thank you. God bless you.
Over to Sharon.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, everybody. It's been another educational presentation. And I was even thinking, when you mentioned no amount of carrot juice would help you when you get to this stage, I was thinking, Lord, please help me not to be at that stage right now, because I am on the carrot juice. Okay, so thank you for the demonstrations with the images, the pictures. They say a picture says 1,000 words. And you all know it's easy for me to come up with 1,000 words, so maybe I should use more pictures. But anyway, going back to the challenge though, as Pastor says, we do need to look at, are we getting enough sunshine? Are we getting the exercise, the correct nutrition? So based on the presentation that we've had today, there's so much that you can pick out from New Start. So just look at the New Start principle, just to go through it, the correct time and amount and type of food in your nutrition, sufficient exercise, sufficient water, sufficient sunshine. Some of us are getting a lot of it, but anyway, temperance, that comes in quite well after sunshine, good air, plenty of rest, but not too much, and trust in God. So look at all of those 8 aspects, the 8 health doctors. You could use a different acronym, possibly restoration. There's others as well, looking at mental health included, and just see if there's anything this week, you know, any one of those, or possibly 2 or 3 that you could improve on. And when you come back after the break, because we're having a break next week, you can come back and let us know which was the challenge that challenged you most and you actually brought into your, you know, your weekly, daily habits. So, and Audrey has put another good one in there. Thank you for that, Audrey. And I will read that. In fact, over to you, Linda, because I've said enough. Like I said about the 1,000 words.
Oh, Sharon. Thank you so much for that challenge. And I think to add to the challenge that we have been provided, thank you, Audrey. Audrey has said, how about we look up all the plant-based foods that are high in calcium? And I really do agree with that as well, Audrey. Thank you so much for that suggestion, because when you actually research it, you'll be surprised which plant-based foods actually have a lot of calcium. And you'll realize that incorporating that into your meals and your diet is going to be so fun and so easy as well. So I would really thank you. I really want to thank you for that, and really would highly recommend that we do that. So we look at the principles and you start seeing what we can incorporate, especially based on what we learned today. I hope I'm summarizing it all right there, Sharon, and that we look up the plant-based foods which are high in calcium as well. And then next week, as Sharon has said, thanks, Sharon, we are not going to be meeting on this platform, but that doesn't mean we stop taking care of ourselves. And then the week thereafter, when we resume, let us discuss what changes we would have done in these next 2 weeks. That's a lot of time to start having incorporated changes and start seeing some of the fruits thereof as well. So thank you to everyone. I don't know if you have any closing words, Shalene, on your side.
Nothing from me, Linda, but I thank you all once again for joining us this afternoon, and we shall see you in 2 weeks' time by God's grace.
Amen.
Also, as I'm looking
Yes.
around the garden, I'm seeing lots of greenery, and I'm seeing some answers to some of Audrey's questions. So happy foraging over the next couple of weeks, because I don't know about where you live, but where I am, the crops are coming up, the plants are coming up, the greenery's coming up. Even the elderflowers are starting to blossom. So enjoy, make the most of what you've got while you've got it, and harvest.
Thanks, Sharon. Wise words indeed for all of us to take on board. So thank you, everyone, once more for joining us for this show. Thank you for taking the time. Thanks again to Pastor Davis for his time as well. And thank you for the suggestions and the participation from all of you. I know some may have not said anything, but your very presence being here means a lot to take in what needs to be heard and shared with others. And I really sincerely hope that we will take on board the challenges that we were given. I know I need to up my sunshine stuff, because sometimes you find yourself you work from home, you stay at home. Yeah, but just to make sure that we do what we need to do to take care of the bodies that God has given us with, that God has blessed us with, sorry. But thank you to everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day if it's still daytime. Have a good afternoon if you're still in the afternoon. Have a good evening if it's already evening on your side of the world. Keep safe and stay healthy. May God bless you. We're going to be going off now from our live stream as well. So I'd also like to thank our YouTube audience for joining us today. I hope and pray that you are blessed, and we will see you again in